going on YouTube? Culturedog Sam Hatch back with another video, and this time we're going to do a soundtrack spotlight. I had just talked about in my previous video about I've been re-marathoning Miami Vice, and I never really owned a lot of the I'd owned some of the albums that the source music from Miami Vice came from, but I never owned a lot of the soundtrack albums until recently. I started picking up the CDs, and again, there's a lot of filler on there. There is a killer collection of Jan Hammer's work that goes for tons of money online nowadays, so I doubt I'll ever be able to afford it, but kind of like his complete scoring works. But yeah, there's a lot of filler stuff, but I figured I'd pick up the original Miami Vice soundtrack. Pretty simple artwork on the cover, nothing really to write home about. The first two soundtracks didn't even tell you who did the particular tracks, but it does have the Miami Vice theme. It's got a couple different versions of that. It's got a tune called Vice from Grandmaster Millie Mel. Smuggler's Blues and You Belong to the City from Glenn Frey are in here. Own the Night is Shaka Khan, if I remember correctly. In the Air Tonight, of course, you can't have a Miami Vice soundtrack without the Phil Collins tune that kind of made the first episode what it was. The Tina Turner's Better Be Good to Me is in here as well. And then a bunch of Jan Hammer tunes in the ending section here. Flashback, Chase, and Evan. So definitely worth picking up for those. Again, I already own like In the Air Tonight in different incarnations, but still it's pretty cool to have, and definitely captures the vibe of the series. I definitely would have been happier with maybe the Russ Ballard tune Voices or Heartbeat by Red 7 on here, though you can get that on the Manhunter soundtrack. This is definitely the crown jewel of the collection. They kick things up a notch with this. It has a little bit more of that like Michael Mann feel. Miami Vice 2, which is also the title of the movie they kind of made out of The Prodigal Son, the season 2 opener. And most of the music on here comes from seasons 2 and 3. A lot of stuff from Stone's War, early season 3 episode with Bob Balaban that also introduces the new Ferrari Testarossa, and of course Prodigal Son. Steve Jones's Mercy opens up the album, and it's a killer track. It's one of the best tunes from the 80s. It's kind of cool, like languid guitar riff with some like creepy kind of bells that come over the soundtrack after a certain point. Just kind of yearning and great like nighttime driving music. There's some Gladys Knight stuff on here, some Patti LaBelle stuff on here. Phil Collins returns with Take Me Home, of course, a tune I had elsewhere. The high point of this and any disc is Jan Hammer's Crockett's theme. Total genius. Such just a melancholy, captivating mood it creates. In fact, whenever I would play, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and that would come on my car's stereo, I'd just kind of like get lost and forget about the gameplay for a bit and just want to drive around. If you're going out to like pick up some bread and milk, play that track while you're driving. It'll seem like you're going on a life and death mission, and you're ruminating about what it means to be human, while you're driving there. That's the kind of vibe. Killer release. I mean, just the basic layer of backing chords in that track is just enough mood already to soak you in the kind of vibe, that Miami Vice vibe. But then the theme kind of kicks in, the lead melody, and man, just amazing stuff. Love that track. There's a couple tracks that aren't even in the series, including Lover by Roxy Music, which was a B-side from their 1980 album, and I'm not sure how that wound up on here, but it's actually a really good track. There's a Jackson Browne tune called Lives in the Balance, which every time I hear it, I always think it's Bruce Cockburn. It's very, very like politically charged. In Dolce Decorum is a fantastic Damned song that's on here, and it's apparently a different version than the one that's on their album, but awesome stuff. And it was on the episode Walk Alone, where Tubbs has to go to jail. Tubbs always has to do the crazy stuff. He always has to like go deep undercover, or go to jail, or sneak inside a decrepit abandoned building and kind of join a bunch of hostages, that kind of stuff. Then it has the New York theme from Jan Hammer, which is like all exciting and random. And in the episode, it was like a part of a montage of shots of skylines and stuff like that, and crazy stuff. And then the original Miami Vice theme, the short like TV opening version, shows up on there. Interestingly, in the show itself, the theme was lacking that kind of lead guitar line for the first like 4 or so episodes until they got rid of Lieutenant Lou Rodriguez and got Castillo in there. Then I finally picked this up recently, and I don't think it's available domestically in the U.S. except for on vinyl. I finally picked up a CD import copy of Miami Vice 3. And this largely covers the 4th season, and people have mentioned that it doesn't contain any tracks written specifically for the show, like Glenn Frey used to do, etc. But it's got a Sheena Easton tune because she played Crockett's wife in this series season. It's got the Hooters, Stray Cats, a couple Yellow tracks, which is cool. Yellow being creators of the tune Oh Yeah, which you've heard in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Secret of My Success and everything. But then it's got James Brown in here, Don Henley's Dirty Laundry, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels doing Devil with a Blue Dress and Good Golly Miss Molly, and then the wedding theme from Jan Hammer. But no killer apps on this one, but I had to have it just for the completion's sake. And I also have pay no attention to the for promotional use only sale or transfer is prohibited notice. I got the Miami Vice film soundtrack, which likewise is some really good stuff. There's a lot of audio slave in the film that's not on the soundtrack. It's got non-points version of In the Air Tonight, which I don't think they nailed. I think they kind of missed the point of the original song. And there's too much percussion throughout the whole thing, which was something Phil Collins was fighting against. There's a radio version of the original tune, which has some percussion in it, but it's far, far more dynamic if you just have the mood of the song build and then have the percussion hit you while Mike Tyson punches you, or vice versa. But yeah, I'm not really a major fan of their version of it. Moby's got a great tune with Patti LaBelle called One of These Mornings. There's some really good Mogwai stuff on here. Nina Simone remix. Felix the Housecat does a version of Cinnamon, which is really good stuff. India Arie's got some stuff on here. Strict Machine from Goldfrapp, that was like a kind of must-have tune from this era of filmmaking. King Britt, Moby's got another track called Anthem. John Murphy's got some stuff on here, and Klaus Badelt and Mark Batson have a tune called A500. Good, interesting mix. Like there's stuff with the Cuban vibe when Crockett goes to Cuba for one portion of the scene. There's some stuff that's like more Michael Mann mood music and ambience. But I mean, if you like the Heat soundtrack or something like that, you'll probably dig this version as well. And there's enough good tracks on there to merit picking it up, even if it's for promotional use only. But I'm a huge fan of this film, so I don't, the haters gonna hate, but what have you. So I had to pick it up anyways. So yeah, there you go. My Miami Vice soundtracks. I am in desperate need of the multi-disc Jan Hammer complete soundtrack, but unless I find a copy for a reasonable amount of money in a used bin somewhere and luck out, I doubt I'm ever gonna obtain that. But yeah, and I don't want to pirate it because I'm a good boy. But anyways, thanks for hanging out. If you dig Miami Vice, you can probably compile a better Miami Vice like source music compilation yourself. Just make a playlist, and I'd love to have like Thunder Island by Jay Ferguson in here and tons of other tunes. And I've been meaning to someday make my own Miami Vice mix, just because there's so much popular music that was used throughout the series. But this is what we got so far that's officially released as Miami Vice product. So you could do worse, but I'd be intrigued to put together like an ultimate personal collection of tunes someday. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, and hopefully you guys had fun. We'll talk to you soon. I'll be back with some more Laserdiscs and movie reviews, etc. Cheers.